Go, my kindred of an allies! Take up your plasma rifles, charge your energy axes, and show these Cabal rhinos the might of the GrimLore Tavern! For they come.
God damn. I thought they smelled bad on the inside. Oh, these guys fucking.
The inside? They smell bad on the outside. What are you talking about?
You're. God, fuck. Oh, fuck. They're fucking huge and they fucking stink.
Yeah, the rest of us wars a bad aim. Charge!
Ah, fuck. Fucking come back to the tavern. This is what we have to deal with.
For real, I deal with a damn Nurgle infestation, then we come home to this shit.
It's fucking ridiculous. And I thought politics were fucking.
Okay. All right, we're in. Barricade the doors. Now. Where's our Skaven bouncer when we need him?
Probably gone on another Warpstone high.
Of course. Hey, blood for the blood god. Toasty. Your dwarf wants to be bored. Nothing? Holy shit, he's gone. Great freaking corn wants him to. He would enjoy this. Why is he not here?
I guess we're missing any reinforcements.
I guess we're on our own. And with that,
damn it.
I know. Hold on a second. Fire in the hole.
Oh.
Okay. I think they calmed down now. Let's shut those doors. Hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to GrimLore, the lore podcast for... Hold on a second. And... Okay, there we go. Lore podcast for all your grimdark fantasy and science fiction settings. Hey, set rifles to burst! Normally, I would say this is a point to pull up a chair and enjoy a drink, but we have our own problems going on right now.
Yeah, these fucking Cabal rhinos trying to fucking cosplay the Imperium of Man. This is ridiculous.
Oh my god. Oh, sweet Grungy. So, wait. Okay, the Vanguards come in. Your donut boys, they're actually pulling through. Holy shit!
I mean, I'm not surprised. The superior elven martial skill is pretty impressive, but I mean, I'm more worried about the rest of our tavern and most of our drinks, and my Warpstone stash is gone.
You worry about the Warpstone stash. I'll worry about the drinks. It's not like Dungle hasn't crashed into this tavern enough anyways.
Yes, but the last time Dungle did that, we were able to repair this. This is fucking ridiculous. And knowing the Cabal, this fucking repair could take fucking half a decade to get done. I am not dealing with this bullshit.
Oh no! I am going to enlist Warper and get his changeling to do the same exact job he did last time because I am not having it.
Yeah, I mean, the Cabal have a tendency to just destroy everything, and then typically people who get attacked don't bother repairing it. This is a subtle joke, but also I'm irritated about it. We'll discuss later.
Okay. All right. I'm stashing all the drinks right now.
Hang on. Okay. We're good. Yeah, fucking Cabal bitches.
All right, you got your Warpstone stash because we're going down to the basement.
Oh, you know what? That's a great idea. I agree. Get to the fucking bunker. Get to the bunker.
Yeah, let's go to the Fallout Vault.
And I'm so glad Astro built that.
And see, yeah, we're gonna see if Astro's creation kind of helps us out here. And no, you two cousins, go to the door, barricade it, do the best you can.
Wait, we have peasants. We have servants? I could be bossing around more people?
Is that a dwarf joke?
No, I didn't mention your height. Although, it's how's the weather doing down there?
Is that a short joke?
No, that was a dwarf joke. No, actually, no. My mistake. It was an elven joke. You wouldn't get it.
I swear, Grungy. I hope you're. I
All right.
hope you are uncomfortable in the Fallout Tavern. Okay, wait. Making sure that we actually have a unlock function on this. Okay, we're good to go and sealed. Okay.
Fucking ball bitches.
Whew.
Oh, but I mean, welcome back, listeners. Um, so those guys suck. Fucking, they blew up my
And
fucking stash of everything.
they couldn't have come at a worse time, too. Jeez.
You know what? No. You know what? Fuck this shit. I'm getting. You know what? No. Gerald, get the book out. You're writing down grudges because we're fucking taking this tavern. No, fuck them. They
Oh,
came to the wrong tavern. Get the book of
oh,
grudges out. Write down the fucking cabal list. They are going in the book. I am adding them, and I'm getting my shit.
oh,
There is shit in this vault, and we're fucking taking this fucking tavern back. Fuck this shit. Listen up. I am not dealing with these fucking cabals.
oh, hell yes! You are speaking my language now, buddy. Okay, I'm grabbing the Tavern's Book of Grudges because it's a lot more serious than the Dwarf Book of Grudges.
Excellent. Just fucking hope I don't have to
You
draw
know
this
what?
sort of pain anytime soon.
I don't have enough pages to just write down the name of every. I'm just gonna say it's the Cabal, and that should
That works.
suffice.
And that's you know,
Uh,
yes, just a racial, because we're nothing if not able to target specific enemies, but we're just gonna, just isolate the cabal as a race and just put them in the book.
I took a
But
page out of Thorgrim's notes like he did with the Skaven, so I'm just doing the Cabal.
that works. I mean, well, you know what? You know what? We'll make some adjustments as we go because there are some legions that we don't need to put in there because most of them died.
Okay, so we're gonna do this like a reverse Death Note, even better.
Excellent. Perfect. All right. Now let's get started because you know what? We're gonna start at the middle with the cabals because they fucking dropped at the wrong fucking times. You know what? We're gonna start in the middle of their history because they don't deserve a beginning right now. We'll save the beginning for later on.
That's right, dear
So,
listeners. We are back on our Bungie kick. So, as is tradition, we're talking about Destiny first. So, the Cabal Empire, everybody. Yeah, that's what we're talking
all
about.
Empire. Exactly, the Cabal Empire. Also, Gerald, take this prospector gun, just hold it, and just when this is done, fire that thing over and over and over again because fuck these guys.
Alrighty then. So
I
we're just
also felt
gonna.
the prospector was a fitting weapon for you, given your dwarven heritage.
You know what? I will overlook the slightly the slight racist undertones of that comment, and I'll accept it with grace.
Oh no, I think I did a racism.
Not just a racism, an elven racism.
Oh, okay, so it's better.
It's debatable.
But speaking of not better, we're going to speak of the Cabal Empire because the Cabal Empire, for those who haven't played Destiny, Destiny 1 anyway, um, we're going to start off very simply. We're going to start off in the middle section. Uh, So let's say that we were, when we first introduced the Cabal, they are the third race that humanity ends up fighting because in the Destiny universe, Earth is just like a battleground for everyone, right, Gerald? Like, can you name the races we've already discussed and the races you know in Destiny?
Let's see here. We talked about my personal favorite, the Fallen, aka the Elixni, and then we talked
Yeah,
about the Vex. I believe those are the two that we talked about.
indeed. However, there's also the Cabal, like we're going to discuss today, and the Hive. Now,
Which we have yet to discuss, I believe.
yes, there's going to be a wild episode. There's going to be very wild because there's some additions to their lore that I just fucking hate. Like there's some really good, like their lore is great, and then there's one retcon that kind of ruins a lot of it. So you gotta
Mm,
take that or leave it. But
Hate when retcons are they just. Hmm. Okay, but
well, I
go
don't
ahead.
like
Go
it.
ahead.
Like I should note that like I'm in the minority here. Like I don't like that retcon, but like a lot of people, like 95% of people love the retcon. I was just against it. So when
I'm
we did that
curious to hear this
episode,
explanation why.
um, I don't know, it ruined a lot of moral ambiguity that the series had and just gave it a very clear like line in the sand was drawn between good and evil, and it kind of just it made a very complex situation, a very complex narrative, way too simple.
Hmm. Okay.
Like, like basically imagine a narrative where it's like there's good guys on both sides, right? Or like there's bad guys on both sides, rather. There's bad guys on both sides, and then it's revealed. Actually, no, there was only bad guys on one side. The people you thought were bad guys on this side were never actually bad in the first place. You were just lied to since the beginning.
This is making me think of that epic rap battle between Tolkien and George R. R. Martin, and then the jabs that they're giving each other, especially towards Tolkien's like, "All your bad guys die and your good guys survive. We know what's going to happen by page and age 5."
Basically, that's what it became. It was annoying in my opinion, but they'll get their episode when we do the next Bungie one. We're on the Cabal right now, but the Cabal are mostly stationed on Mars because that's when the players when the Guardians first encounter them. And I should mention at this point, Mars is like not no man's land because the moon is no man's land, but like Mars is like everyone is fighting on Mars for something on Mars. It's like everyone's on Earth too, but like because Earth is like human controlled is predominantly the seat of humanity, the influence of everyone else is like a lot smaller. But because Mars has a smaller human population, the presence of the other aliens is felt way more, and their impact on each other is like way more prominent. So it makes Mars like this real like this war zone.
So it's kind of like in 40K terms, the galaxy, anything around the Segmentum Solar is like strictly Imperium, and it's like
Yeah.
everything else on the fringes are more heavily Xenos oriented.
Yeah, exactly. But in this case, it would be Mars specifically, and the fact that Mars, the fourth planet in the solar system, has a small human influence should really say how badly humanity got like fucked up during the collapse, because humanity was like beginning to become an interstellar empire. Like humanity was beginning to push into like going to Alpha Centauri in the Destiny universe before the collapse happened. So we were like getting close to becoming an interstellar species. So we had the entire galaxy on lock, and we went down back to Earth and like a little bit on the moon.
Jeez,
Yeah. And then the
jeez.
rest, yeah, and then the rest of the system got conquered by the aliens, or rather was like basically it got fucked up by the darkness, and then the Electionies showed up and became the Fall and started raiding everything. And then the Cabal showed up slash the Hive and the Cabal show up around the same time. But yeah, the Cabal show up, and then in the midst of this chaos is when the Vex awaken. And it's revealed that like, oh, there's enemies that's been scattered all across our system that have just woken up at the worst possible time. Like this would be like the Necrons waking up during the Horus Heresy at full power.
Oh man, that'd be a bad time.
Yeah, it would be a bad time for everybody, right? Like even the Vec, like even the Necrons, that situation would still get fucked up, obviously. But like
Hmm.
it would be worse for the Imperium than what the Horus Heresy was.
Oof,
That yeah, that's
man.
that's basically what it was. So
Phew.
the Cabal, however, the best part about the Cabal though is that when they arrive and take the system, or not take system, when they try to take the system and go to battle on Mars, they're predominantly locked in a stalemate with the Vex. Now think about that for a second, because we discussed how powerful the Vex are. Now imagine if another alien race could stalemate them on a planet.
Ooh. On like a neutral ground too, like not even their own territory. No, sorry, enemy territory because it was
Yeah,
originally human controlled.
yeah, exactly. And not only that, but Mars has the war minds. The war mind Rasputin is like basically like imagine every single gun, like imagine if every single like form of like of defense system was controlled by a single AI, and that AI is stationed on Mars. So not
Ooh.
only is it like humans fighting, but they also have their own like Skynet fighting its own fighting basically its own side, its own war against everyone else.
Mm.
I should mention though that
Okay.
Rasputin is like he's not like actively aggressive. It's more like he'll intervene, but he's not actively fighting people. It's more just like I'll drop a couple missiles here to just mess up a conflict.
Ooh, okay. So it's like playing
Yeah.
all sides, kind of.
Kind of, yeah, but like there's stuff to Rasputin that's like kind of complex because he's an AI. But um
Okay. So
yeah,
it's like
but
a David Xanatos situation where, like, either way, whatever path he takes ultimately leads to him being out on top.
yeah, effectively. But his end goal is also like his end goal is kind of for humanity, but it's never like confirmed if it means like the greater good of humanity or like the supremacy of humanity or like because like you might be like, oh, he's our protector, or is he meant to be our ultimate weapon against everyone else?
I'm getting a lot of Big E vibes from this. I'm not sure
Yeah,
how to feel
it's
about
it's crazy. Destiny is a very complex setting that I don't, which is why I don't like when they do retcons and make things very simple.
that. It's simple
But
now. It sucks. Yeah.
exactly. But speaking of complexity, the Cabal, like they're still mating on Mars, but they're also like spreading across other or not other systems, across other planets in the galaxy. They don't interfere with the Awoken because if you guys remember the Awoken, they mostly fought with the Elixni, but because of that war, not the Fallen, the Awoken weren't able to properly interact with the Cabal at that point. So it was basically like, yeah, we stopped the Fallen from taking Earth, but now we're too weak to stop the Cabal when they come in. And so because of that, the Awoken kind of basically like they hid back in the asteroid belt because like there was a point where they were like expanding out of the asteroid belt, but when the Cabal stripped, they had to retreat back in and back to some of their colonies because they couldn't afford to be they had become weakened from the war with House of Wolves, so they couldn't stop the Cabal from coming in and like taking some easy planets and easy wins. Now here's the thing about the Cabal is that when they show up as six legions. So when I say legions, literally think of Space Marine legions.
I was just about to say, like, this is like very much Imperium coded.
Yeah, they're very you know what? Let's before I get to the history, like when I start at the beginning of the history, I'll just discuss what the Cabal are because this is a great segue because this is the invasion part. Because when the Cabal invade as legions, these legions are led by what do they call? Is it Dominus? I believe it's called Dominus. Is the highest rank, which is Latin coded, which is obviously the Imperium. No, Dominus is the highest rank. Dominus is the highest rank. What's the other one? Primus. Primus is the highest rank of a legion. Dominus is like the military dictator.
Which, for those who don't know, it is Dominus is Latin for Lord. So
Yeah, yeah.
even it
Um,
fits.
yeah. So each Primus leads a legion, and each legion is kind of like a Space Marine legion as well, in that they are special like they're generalists, but they do have their own specializations in combat. And not only that, but each one, like as you play the game, especially Destiny 1, because Destiny 2 makes it very simple, which I find it annoying. But in Destiny 1, there you could tell the different legions by their colors. Not only was it like Halo where different armament, like different types, different colors of armor was different ranks, it was also different colored armor were different sub factions within the enemy faction themselves.
Okay. I'm taking
Yeah,
a look
like
at some pictures of just like, I guess, general Cabal rhinos, and they look very much like cracked out rhinos slash brutes from Halo. So this is a terrifying image.
yes, we will
Let me see if
discuss
I
their
can.
physiology in a second. So the thing about the Cabal and what makes them even more similar to Space Marines, because again, now you have the legions with different specializations. We'll get to some of the legions in a second, but I can just remember a couple off the top of my head already. But these legions, yeah. Oh, don't look at him. Don't look at that guy. Look at right the siege dancers, the Cabal siege dancers.
Okay, the Cabal.
That is one of the legions.
Let's see up
Yes,
here.
so they are, yeah, they are primarily an aqua blue with a bright yellow. And these guys, by their name, obviously are siege dancers. They're Imperial fists, basically.
Well, I was gonna say
Not
they even Imperial Fist coded. This is great.
yeah, they're Imperial. They're like Imperial fists in that they are the idea is that when it comes to a siege, the idea is that they're always it's like a dance basically for them. They view sieging fortifications, like whether they're on the defense or as the offense, in a type of dance that you have with your opponent, where your movements have to respond to theirs and theirs respond to yours, and it gives them this like philosophy with with combat. Then these are another one. These are the Blind Legion, the Dust Giants, and the Skyburners. The Skyburners, I believe, are the not orbital ones. What is it called? It's not. They don't fight in space. They fight in the air. I think the Skyburners are the ones that fight in the air and they do like ODST type stuff where they're constantly
Ooh, that's
dropping.
cool.
The Dust Giants are the ones that are on Mars specifically. Like these are the
Hmm.
guys who took Mars. And
Okay.
then the Blind Legion. What's the Blind Legion? I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, frick. I forgot what the Blind Legion are specialists in. But you can obviously see the similarities between the Cabal and the Imperium of Man, obviously. But
Yep.
here's some more stuff about them. Do you know what the Cabal's primary weapon is?
I swear, if you say something along the lines of like las cannon or um, power sword, I'm probably just gonna just walk out of this Fallout vault and just start going guns blazing.
And then no, well, you know what? Not well, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Some of their weapons, yes, in some cases they do have that, but no, their weapons are micro missiles. They have bolters.
Okay, I'm putting in the codes to this Fallout vault. Where's the? How do I charge this prospector?
You just lock it. It's a grenade launcher. Every time you clock it, you actually can load a grenade in. And so if you clock it 6 times and pull a trigger, you can fire all 6 of your rounds at once.
Oh, so this is like a brute shot. Awesome. Okay. All right. We'll let loose the carnage after this discussion. Okay. I'm calm now. All right. So they have
And
bolters.
just they have bolters, but not only do they have bolters, they have bigger bolters, and then even bigger bolters. They literally get bigger. They literally get like heavy bolters at higher ranks. It's fun. It's funny as all hell. And then they
It
have
sounds like
mini.
they're just trying to out 40k, and it's just like no, and 40k is gonna have to come and be like, oh no, not in my house.
Oh yeah, and they also have like an autocannon, so a minigun that fires bolts, like that fires micro missiles.
Oh, glorious.
Yeah, this is fucking hilarious. Oh, and they also have sniper rifles that are bolters, because of course.
Because why not?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But here's actually something else. Because we're discussing their weapons, right? We obviously gotta discuss that. But not only are they armed like Space Marines, they also look like Space Marines. So Gerald, you've seen the Cabal. Can you give me a brief description of what you think they look like based on the images you've seen?
Okay, well, obviously, I made the joke that they were Cabal rhinos, which, you know, in it's not very far off. Whoops, hold on. The Cabal Destiny, not Mafia 2. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Let me get back to sharing. Let me get back to sharing my screen. It's but here we go. This lovely monstrosity, or better
Yes.
yet, this one, or
Yes.
this one.
Ah, yes, the ball chin one. We'll get to him in a sec. No, sorry, that's Mr. No Balls. I'll get to him in a second. So the
Yeah.
Cabal are they do look like rhinos, but the obvious point of it is that they are about 8 feet tall, 7 to 8 feet tall. They are basically pure muscle. They have leathery skin, as you can see. And the females have like tusks, like elephant tusks. And I believe the females are actually bigger. Like they're just like a little bit bigger. But there's one right there.
Oh,
That's Keitel. That's one of the main that's one of the leaders of the Cabal race, and she's actually she's currently trying to become the Empress of the Cabal.
that's
She's
what it says
currently
right here.
vying to
Empress
take like
Empress
yeah,
Kaidal.
yeah. So yeah, these are the female Cabal. They have tusks, but predominantly they just honestly she stands really straight. Like the Cabal typically are more hunched over, so they're actually like even taller than 8 feet tall because they're hunched over.
I was
And
gonna say, is like the 8 feet tall when they're hunched over, or is that when them with them standing upright?
no, that's them hunched over. They're taller than the
Okay.
player character.
Okay. That makes more
Yeah, and
sense.
they are incredibly stronger. I believe in one of the lore, like in because there's a it's similar to Destiny, similar to 40K, where they like dissect them, and they say that the Cabal are like, I think it's like 3 or 4 times stronger than regular humans at base. Like they're just naturally that strong.
Hmm.
And then I believe with
There's a-
every and then yes, there's some art of Cadle.
I was gonna
But
say, oh,
on
that's art.
top of
That's
that,
not an animation.
no.
Okay, we're gonna stop sharing that.
But yeah, so on top of that though, their armor does make them even stronger, and they're also incredibly durable. Because the Cabal are able to withstand, because if you go by the gameplay, the Cabal can survive a shotgun shot at like near point blank range.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So this is kind of making me think toward. This is really making me think a lot of the brutes from Halo, which I'm sure it's Bungie, so they probably got a lot of inspiration from it. Because it's okay if we steal from ourselves. You know.
Yeah. Basically imagine the brutes, but instead of being like because the brutes are they monkey based? They're like apes, aren't they?
Yeah, they're mostly monkey based, but some people say, there's might be a little bit of rhino in them too, just because of how fucking durable they are as because they're like 9 feet tall, 800 pounds of pure muscle, essentially. But I won't go into too
That's
much more
basically the same
detail.
concept, but imagine more
So
like rhino slash hippo.
now, full disclaimer for those that don't know, hippos are fucking terrifying creatures.
They are fucking terrifying. They are monsters. That's why I'm also mentioning the hippos because they are dangerously aggressive and they're basically bulletproof. Like there's like because of just how big they are and how much muscle they actually have. There's like statements that they can like survive. Like if you shoot one with a handgun, there's a chance that it won't actually even penetrate its like skin.
Hmm.
Now,
And
granted, that's a
completely off
handgun. It's not
topic.
like the most powerful gun we have, but like it's
True.
still a gun.
The fact that it can just shrug off a handgun is just is insane and completely unrelated. And I was playing Assassin's Creed Origins, and I was walking, I was sneaking by a river. All of a sudden, I hear a noise, and then out pops just like a fucking hippo, just charging at me at full speed. I freaked the fuck out.
That's the same anxiety I have when I play Assassin's Creed 3 and a bear shows up in my like when I'm walking through the forest. Like they just come in, they grab you, lift you up, and just swing you onto the ground. You just have to like try and stab with your hidden blade in the neck. It's wild.
Yep, except I couldn't do that with the hippo because its skin was so tough. You could not do that.
Yeah, it's a fucking hippo. But
Oh
yeah,
man.
exact
Okay.
same concept. Like in Destiny, even like because in Destiny you have powered melee, which is where you put the light, which is space magic, behind your melee hits. And I think the Cabal are able to like withstand because I know they changed the balancing mechanics. So like if you want to count game balance as canon, which Bungie literally has, like I want to make this clear, Bungie has made balance changes canon to the game, like to the universe. Like in one of the lore for one of the guns, they straight up mentioned that the new ability that the gun has is because like the new ability that they gave the gun. from its previous version was a modification made in universe, stating that every single time there's a balance change for like enemies having more health or something like that, that's happening in game. But when it comes to enemies having more health, they just say the light got weaker. So, depends on how you want to do it, but in game, Cabal can survive a powered melee punch when no other enemy of a similar rank could. That's what I'm
Hmm.
trying to say.
Hmm. Yeah, this is definitely something like Halo 2 brutes. Oh,
So they're pretty
flashbacks.
wild. They're pretty strong. But yeah, I should also mention they're very similar to the Krogan from Mass Effect, which I know very little of. I'm going to be completely honest. But similar to the Krogan, the Cabal have redundant organs. So even if they like lose an organ, they have a second one. And not only that, but because of how durable they are, like they're almost like Death Guard at base, where like yeah, they might lose one of their hearts, but like as long as they're able to just like as long as they can keep fighting, their body might just be able to power through for them to like just heal through it as long as they're able to stay conscious.
Hmm. Okay.
Like
So
the
you don't know
Cabal are
much about Mass Effect. Okay, potential future episode idea. I'm writing that
I'm
down.
considering it. I would be so down to learn about Mass Effect. I know it's like a fantastic series. I just have no knowledge of it.
And
But
very,
yeah, so
very interesting. I'm
we can
gonna
save that for
close my
later.
yeah. I'm gonna close my grudge book real quick and just pull out like one of my other notes here.
But let's discuss the Cabal. Let's discuss one more thing about the Cabal. Is none of their weapons being like bolters, but unlike the Imperium of Man, which is technologically stagnant, the Cabal are willing to innovate. Not only that are they willing, but they are like the Roman Empire as well, where because like the Imperium of Man is like the Roman Empire, but imagine taking the best parts of the Imperium of Man and the actual best parts of the Roman Empire, and that's basically the Cabal in a nutshell, because they are willing to innovate and adopt the teachings of those they've defeated and conquered, and basically like twist them into like a new Cabal way of doing things, like similar to how the Romans when they would conquer when they would take over territory, that a lot of those customs and traditions would become like romanized, but anything that was like particularly beneficial to the empire was basically like rebranded as like the new Roman way of doing things. So the Cabal are similar. If they encounter an enemy who was like particularly good at a certain thing, they'll basically either defeat them, like basically technologically progress in the same field as their enemy till they surpass them, or defeat them and reverse engineer technology from them to improve themselves, which is
Okay.
similar, which is also what the Roman Empire did to the Chinese Empire, because they would trade with the Chinese Empire and then they would take apart the stuff they got from the Chinese Empire and use that material to make Roman things. Like they would take Chinese silk, unweave it, and then make Roman cloaks using the what they traded.
Okay. Very interesting. So they weren't so yeah, that's actually a really neat facet of the historical Roman Empire that a lot of people don't really mention. So I'm really glad that this is kind of brought up with that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to actually pull up the
Yeah.
Cabal's page. Uh, Here we go. The Cabal. All right. Because I saw a really cool picture, but then I lost it of the different ranks.
Yes. So another thing though, another reason why their technology is so impressive is every piece of equipment in the Cabal's arsenal on an individual soldier has its own artificial intelligence in it. Now, this isn't like anything crazy advanced. It isn't like Tau in that. Oh, also the Cabal are also like the Cabal are what happens if you combine the Tau with the Imperium of Man. That's what they are. That's the best example. The Tau Empire
Ooh.
and the Imperium of Man is what the Cabal are.
Okay,
So
now let me ask this. Obviously, if you look at the name of the episode, which we have affectionately dubbed the Imperium of Alien Kind, does the Cabal have client races the way the Covenant or the Tau do?
they do. They do. However, the client races which we'll get to, because there's a lot of stuff for the Cabal, because they are very well fleshed out. They are impressively fleshed out. But the point of them is that a lot of these clan races function less like the Covenant does with their subclan races, and they're more for and they are the clan races of the Cabal Empire are very rarely part of the military. Very rarely are they part of the military. To the point that if you are a client race, you are considered a second class citizen because in the Cabal Empire, your social status is directly proportional to your rank in the military and your service in the military.
Okay.
And this is where the Cabal, how do I put this? The Cabal social ladder goes because Cabal are kind of like Spartans as well, where they are trained since birth to become part of the military. And when the Cabal Empire expands, it's customary for these legions, which have individuals of like varying ranks, to be part of it. And what happens is that these military campaigns aren't just military campaigns; they're expansions of the empire. They're basically an entire civilization. They're basically a colony as well as an army. And if you guys remember our Bretonia episode where I mentioned Errant Knights, these Cabal are kind of like Errant Knights as well, where when you join the Cabal military, you have like the social standing of whatever your rank is, right? Like if you're a recruit, if you're a cadet, whatever you are. But when you go on campaign, there's a very specific thing that happens to every single Cabal in that military campaign. They basically get arbitered. You become exiled.
Hmm.
Now, the what this means is that imagine if you were trained since birth, right? You basically were given the Spartan treatment, trained since birth, become an excellent military member of your military, and then at age 16, for example, you join the official military ranks, and then you learn that your empire has to conquer a new solar system. So you join a legion and go on expedition. Now you are basically cut off from the Cabal Empire and are considered an exile. The only way that you can rejoin the empire is if you make the system you are conquering part of the Cabal Empire.
Okay. And so it's one of those situations where if you don't succeed, don't even come back home, sort of
Exactly.
things.
Exactly. And the Cabal have a military doctrine of leave nothing behind if they lose. They're kind of like the Predator as well, where every Cabal Legion basically has the ability to, if they needed to, destroy a planet, or in some of the most extreme cases, the entire solar system.
Mm. Talk about petty.
Yes, literally, like it's basically if we take if they'll invade a system, and if they can't take the system, fine, blow it up. Like if we can't have it, no one can. Like not even the people who live here can have it because they beat us.
Can't take an L if there's no L or if there's no systems to not conquer.
Exactly, exactly. And part of the benefit of this is that, like, let's say they came to Earth, right? Let's say the Cabal came to modern day Earth, and they lost. All they would have to do would be to blow up Earth. Like blow up Earth. The rest of the Cabal Empire arrives because the Cabal usually send a secondary fleet to basically check on the success of the the Legion. So like let's say Legion came to Earth, they lost and they blew up Earth. The basically the scouting force would arrive, notice that the Cabal weren't there, but that the planet Earth was also destroyed, which means that the system can be conquered because there's no opposition now. So it basically becomes free real estate because there's no sentient life in the system to challenge the Cabal's rulership.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, the Cabal are pretty damn petty.
That was super petty.
So yes. Also, when the Cabal, like let's say the Cabal win, then any race that was in the system becomes a client species by force. And typically
That
their
sounds.
job is specifically to service and maintain the empire. You basically become like a slave. So your job is if your planet is like if your planet produces food, it's basically feudalism. If you're a client species, your planet becomes nothing more than like a form of taxation to the empire. You're either producing weapons or armaments repairing any damaged materials, providing food and like welfare to the rest of the Cabal Empire. You have very little like liberties as a client species of the Cabal Empire.
Okay, so I mean that kind of, I mean you already kind of answered the question I was going to ask. Was like, what exactly is life like for a citizen or a client species of the Cabal if you're not on the front lines?
If you are a client species, you are nothing but you are nothing but a serf. You're literally like you're basically a slave. Like you are given like you are given like the best like healthcare. Like the Cabal will invest into its slaves. Like like I don't know if you ever seen that hilarious post on Reddit, but it was like aliens conquer Earth and they make mandatory sleep of 8 hours for all citizens in order to maximize their slaves' lifespans, to maximize the amount of work they can put into it. And they dedicate like they basically create a better life for humanity but just by enforcing our servitude.
It's
It's
that
like
that's that's very contradictory, but I can see where the logic is coming from in this.
yeah, it's basically like, do we work our slaves to death and only get 20 years worth of slaves? Or do we give our slaves good medical and good living standards so that they'll live to 80 and we get 80 years of service out of them? So like,
Oh boy.
well, let me put this way. Imagine you're a factory worker who has to work like 10-hour shifts, and if you ever pass out at your station, you're wheeled off to the hospital, given the best health care, and then immediately thrown back into the factory once you're at 100%. So like it's not like great, but it's better than like not having universal health care.
It'd be better than being a factory worker at the in the actual Imperium, where you work your 18-hour days, and if you fall asleep, oh well, half rations. Oh, you fall asleep again? Okay, to the meat grinder with you.
Exactly. Although I should mention there have been special cases where the Cabal has allowed individual members of these clan races to join the military.
Those must be very rare circumstances, or those individuals must be very, very, very adept at whatever it is they do.
That one, they have to be very specifically the very best they have to be the best of the best of the best. They have to be the literal like pinnacle of what that race could accomplish, as well as being particularly skilled in a particular form of um basically anything that can be useful to the military. So for example, let's say your race is just naturally good at being assassins. You have to be the fucking best of the best of the best of your entire species, and then on top of that, being the best of the best of the best of the best of the best assassin of your species to be considered to become to join this like group.
Okay, okay. So you're not going to see like squads or platoons of like these different client species. It's literally going to be like a named character of that species representing them or whatever skill set they have, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Although there is one thing though, is that when a person becomes joins this group, typically every other member of their species is given like a full-on status increase.
Hmm.
Like basically imagine if there was like a third class of citizen, that's the client species. But if you can get one of your members into the military, you go from a third class species to a second class species.
So you're actively wanting someone from your species to be represented, and then you get better perks essentially.
Yes, but typically the Cabal themselves notice this feature and select it. So it isn't like they have academies of people doing this. It's literally the
Mm-hmm.
Cabal will notice that they'll typically select this person when they invade a planet. So again, let's say the Cabal, because this happens, the Cabal comes to Earth and try to invade. They'll make an offer to the best Guardian to join as a member of the species, and all of humanity becomes a client species under the Cabal. That was the
Okay.
offer. Like humanity was literally given that offer.
Now, given that obviously the Guardians are still fighting the Cabal, that
Yeah,
just does not
yeah.
work.
Yeah, exactly. There was a bunch of stuff that there was well the reason why because the person who made the offer was objectively evil, like they were objectively the bad guy, and it was literally they were trying to get the Guardian to side with them as like basically to prove that they aren't so bad. But the person that was making the offer was probably one of the worst, like they were objectively the worst Cabal leader. And I don't mean
Was
like they
this
were like I don't mean incompetent. I mean like they were the cruelest, most like potentially wasteful to the species who was making us this offer.
so basically a walking PR nightmare?
Yeah. We'll get to him, by the way. That's Emperor Callus.
Okay, was he the fat slob that sitting on?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
And that's making me think too of a. Is this also kind of coming from that fan video of? I think it was a Cabal member like giving Zavala the offer or whatnot, and then someone overdubbed is like, "Look, I got these 12 power hungry bitches that are willing to take your skin just for fun. They are killing each other over guns."
That was actually Empress Keitel who's making that offer to Zavala.
Okay, okay. I was
Yeah.
getting it mixed up.
No, it's okay, but like, don't you think isn't that funny though? That Emperor that's the Cabal's MO is they find the most competent member of a species, and they're like, hey, join me, and your species gets all these benefits as part of our empire.
That is a very Tau thing. Like they'll do the
Yeah,
diplomacy first. Well, I don't know. Nah. You're the mix of Tau and Imperium works pretty good. But let me ask this
they'll
then.
attack you. They'll see how they'll attack you first. They'll see how you retaliate. If they like how you retaliate, they'll offer you to join. If you reject joining, they'll bulldoze you and make you join.
So Imperium, Tau, back to Imperium, forcibly Tau.
Yeah, exactly. And then if they forcibly take your planet, then you're not getting that option again. Like no species that has been like bull that has encountered the Cabal and like been defeated. No, hang on. One has, but they are a very specific case. They are a very, very unique case that we'll get to in a second. But because those are the scions, and they'll be in a second. But yeah, so that's what happened with the Cabal was that they'll come in, bulldoze you, and then you ain't getting the chance to become a second class citizen now. Oh, I should also mention that if you join this group, you live like a king. Like you are literally given like emperor status, like luxuries. Like people who be like they're called the shadows, and you are given the shadow of whatever your planet's name. So if you are so if you let's say a guardian becomes a shadow, you become known as the shadow of Earth.
Hmm. Okay, that sounds pretty badass.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
It is pretty fucking. You're just like, oh man, that's like aura farming like crazy. Like imagine walking in and being like, I am the shadow of Earth. Like
the Shadow of Earth. Is this in any way related to the Shadow Legion, or is that a separate thing?
The Shadow Legion is the Cabal, is Emperor Callus's personal honor guard that he gets when he joins the Darkness.
Okay, so it's like basically like evil, like even more evil custodies.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah. And I
I
think
was
the
gonna.
implication is that they're being psychically controlled, like they are being like puppeted, like they're not in control of their bodies. Is like I think the lore behind them.
Ooh, that's kind of crazy. But
Yeah.
I was going somewhere with this line of questioning. Oh, okay. Has any human actually accepted the offer, or because we're all like all of humanity's fighting them, that's just not the case?
There was a special case where basically the player character where a guardian is offered the chance to become the shadow, but because of how story progresses, there's no that basically was thrown out the window as like a possibility because no one guardian could speak for all the guardians. And so it
Hmm.
basically became like the Vanguard has to agree to speak for, like it was basically no one could speak for all the guardians, so no guardian could become the shadow. There were like attempts, like there's an armor set where if you wear it, you were basically like pledging yourself as a candidate to become a shadow of
Hmm.
the like you're basically trying to become a shadow. And that was the only time when like a tournament basically was held for Earth to have a shadow. But this was very much like if you're going to this like tournament, you're going basically undercover to see what's going on, to figure out what's the going like in like that's the what's the DLC called? It's basically Callus comes back. I'll get to him in a second, but it's like, hey, any guardian wants to become a shadow, come to this ship, come to this location, and do these challenges and earn the armor set of the shadow. And you basically are claiming yourself as a candidate to become a shadow if Earth becomes part of the Empire. You yourself are offering yourself to become the shadow. That's the best way to put it. But again, Guardians are a very special case. It's not like that with any other race, from what we understand.
Okay, so there is no chance that you're actually fighting any race traders or anything like that.
I don't know. I mean, you might be fighting someone in the Crucible. You never know.
Oh, well, Crucible's one thing. Like I'm talking about like actual humans that have willingly joined the Cabal, or is it because it has to be a species effort? So it's not
It has
like
to be a species effort. It has to be a species effort.
okay,
Yeah,
that's where it comes from. Okay.
yeah, yeah. But the special case that I was talking about when it came to another race was the Scions. The Scions are basically psychers because they literally have psychic powers. Like they literally can control things with their mind and see the future.
Okay.
Yes. And this is totally unrelated to the light and darkness, by the way. This is like totally separate from that. They just have psychic powers. But they basically the Scions, they fought the Cabal, but they were subjugated and became a client race. But there was a group of them who were able to perfect their future sight abilities because it was because of future sight they put up such a good fight against the Cabal, but they were still defeated. They put their psychic, like the future sight, to the test and made a machine that basically made their future sight it was basically like the golden throne for them. And I don't mean like it made them like psychically powerful, but it was like with this we can see the future with perfect accuracy. And they gave this to the Cabal Empire as an offering, and in return for this device, I think it was called the Oxa device. The Scion species were permitted to join the military, but only as like an auxiliary race.
Okay.
But that's still like impressive. Like this is the first time that a full-on species was permitted to join the Cabal military. To the point that like I think it's one scion for every like regiment. Like when you play Destiny, there's always a scion with a group of Cabals. And the reason why is because their future sight lets them see when enemies are coming, and they can use their future sight and telekinesis to move like anyone who like they can literally move the player. Like you'll fight them, they'll shoot you into the air so that the Cabal can shoot you while you're airborne.
Hmm.
But those are the scions. Do you have any more questions before I get to the start of their history?
I'm just trying to get a picture of the Scions pulled up. The spelling of
They
the
look
name
very
kind of had me
lanky. The
turn.
best way to describe them is they're like 5'5", I think is what their height is. They're very like thin, very yeah, this is what they are.
Huh.
And then naturally more advanced ones have more elaborate armor plating and everything like that.
Okay. Oh,
But yeah,
Destiny
they're
2. Okay. So like me IRL, like because I am short. I'm not 5'5" short, but I'm still short.
yeah, they're pretty cool. Those are some more Scion arts. But let's get to let's start with the very beginning of the Cabal
Ugh.
because yeah,
Oh, that is haunting. Okay. Okay.
yeah, yeah. All right. So you know about the Cabal in the modern day, but this is how they started. Let's start with the earliest known legend of the Cabal. This isn't their origin, so this isn't their creation story. This is just the oldest known legend that Cabal have. This legend It's called the Legend of Acrius. Now,
Okay.
what does that name make you think of?
Legend of Acrius. I mean, this is making me think of like ancient Greece. So like Zeus, Kratos, like
Here,
that sort of
let
stuff.
me help you. Let me just help you. The Legend of Acrius sounds like the myth of Icarus.
Okay. Okay. I was on the right track. I was on the right
You were
track.
on the right track. You were very close. Now tell me, how does the Legend of Icarus go? Do you remember?
Yeah, Icarus is the son of Daedalus. They're in the labyrinth. They make wax wings to help fly out of the labyrinth. And then Icarus flies too close to the sun. His wings melt, and then he's off to his death.
Exactly. Now the Cabal have their own version of the Legend of Icarus, which is the Legend of Acrius. Now, I'm going to discuss how that legend goes because it epitomizes the Cabal. Because the Legend of Icarus obviously talks about a degree of hubris, a degree of of literally flying close to the sun to achieve greatness. Now, the Cabal's version is different because the Cabal the Cabal legend has a great warrior chieftain because the primitive Cabal were like very primitive like warrior kings. They were tribal leaders, very simple like orc war bands. And one great leader looked to the sun and his thought was, I will conquer the sun. Like I will conquer the sun. Straight up the sun itself. And these guys were literally primitive barbarians with weapons. Now, what this warrior chief did, what this chief warrior Acrius did, was he climbed the highest mountain on Tora Batal, which is the planet of the Cabal, which I'll get to in a second. He climbs to the highest mountain, the very peak of it, to reach the sun, to get to the sun. And when he gets to the peak, he finds a massive wild beast, a massive it's basically like a lizard lion. And this massive war beast, it literally has like what's it called? A mane of sunlight. Like it is basically the sun itself. And this massive beast is so huge and it's blocking his path. It's blocking Acrius's path. But if Acrius can kill this thing, he will claim the sun.
And you said
And
he
what
was
does
on top of the
Acrius?
mountain when he sees this.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Before you continue, I gotta do this for the sake of a GrimLore classic bit. He's looking down on that lion beast. Pathetic.
Exactly. GrimLore tradition. Now, you know what Acrius does with the war beast as it faces him?
I want to
He
say he
kills
does
it.
some awesome. Okay, okay.
He kills it. And after he kills it, he claims the sun and becomes the first Cabal Emperor. Now,
Okay.
does that now tell me how that story because you think that like is that's it? Like, like there's a part of me that's like that's it, right?
I mean, I was totally going to say he was going to get completely bodied by that lion lizard, but
No, he wins. Like, think about that. Like the human brain think like you think, oh, he's obviously gonna get bodied by the lizard lion. No, he wins. Why wouldn't he win? He's the cabal. He's a cabal. Of course he would win. How dare you think otherwise? Like
hmm.
where the human myth of Icarus is again speaks of greed, of hubris, of flying to go to the sun. The Cabal's legend, yes, claim the sun. You are a Cabal. You can claim it. Nothing stands in your way. The sun, the stars, everything is yours to claim if you just go for it. And you can do
Hmm.
it.
So this is saying hubris is a good thing for them.
Hubris and glory seeking is a good thing. Now, you want to know something very funny about this legend?
Sure. I'm in a humorous
It's
mood.
a lie. Well, okay,
Okay.
I shouldn't say it's a lie. I shouldn't say it's a lie. But the Legend of Acrius is only the third act in a three-act story, with the first two acts regularly being forgotten because those two acts focus on the numerous war chiefs who fought the great beast and died. But every single time they fought it, they left a scar on its body. A scar, and with every scar, the beast got weaker. It was only when Acreus, the last one to fight it, finished it off, did it die. But everyone forgets about that because they only focus on the winner, on the fact that Acreus killed the beast. And so all the previous deaths, all the previous failures are forgotten, are literally erased. Just like how when
This
the Cabal conquer a system, if they fail, they erase their defeat along with everything else.
this really is playing like the Imperium. 6 million lives lost, total Imperial victory.
Exactly. And that's what I find so fascinating about the Cabal is that like they have a legend. They have a very interesting legend that is completely different from our own. But then it has a very almost like real truth behind it that when the empire when Acurus became the first emperor, he literally bulldozed the history away so that it was just his victory. That there was no 100 other chieftains who fought the great beast and died trying. There was only the one who won, who survived not just against it, but in history. And this mentality like encompasses all the Cabal species as they would go on and how they would develop because it's like all that matters is hubris and victory. And that's where like the military dictatorship of them comes from. Because if you can achieve greatness through like martial power, then yes, you should be in charge.
I mean, this is like pretty close to home, anyways, because you like it's that age-old saying, like history is written by the winners. So,
Exactly. Oh, hang on, just give me one second. I have to run to the bathroom fast, okay?
bum bum. And now a word from our sponsors. It's quiet. Too quiet. What is our elven bard trying to do? Put out the first flame or something? In the arms of an angel, far away. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think our elven bard has been lost to the warp. Forgot to hide his warp dust. Or maybe Exo tried to sneak some fentanyl into his stash. We'll find out soon enough. like, well, this is going to be a fun section of silence to edit out for later. Do 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 do. All by myself. Everybody hurts. So let yourself go. Ugh. That's not a good one. I'll tell you what, our elf friend must have had to go. Da, 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 da. Oh, okay. Don't worry, dear listeners. Our Elven Bard just had a message from the warp. He is attending to that situation as we speak. Bear with us just a little bit longer. Ugh. This has been a long break. Hang in there. Our Elven Bard is going to be joining us at some point. I'm giving this until 3 o'clock, and then we're just going to have to do a part 2. So that's the plan. Hope everyone's cool with that.
Hello, Gerald.
Okay. I was told not
Sorry.
to sleep at the post.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
And both babies waking up, and then one woke up the other when the other was finally falling asleep was a whole issue.
Oh no. Do we want to do a part 2 of this? Since it's about 2:30, I gotta get up.
Yeah. No,
So,
I figured a two-part would make most sense. If not two-part, but like the other half of the episode.
yeah, that's what I meant. Like the second half of this episode. Then we can
Yeah.
just so we'll figure out when to do that. But all
You can
right.
definitely try
So
next week. We can try definitely you can definitely try for like next Saturday. But
okay.
obviously I'll update you, but like we'll just assume for next Saturday.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. I'll see you, man.
Alrighty then. Have a good night. Have a good night, dear watchers, if we ever had any.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay.
Don't worry, we're
See you.
trying to get back to formula. We're trying to
Oh,
get back to
we're
formula.
definitely trying. Definitely trying.
That. Yeah, more on that in our continuation.
Mhm.
All right. Good night, everybody.